Some people say Paris is overrated. Too crowded, too expensive, too touristy. And honestly, after spending 5 days in Paris, I completely disagree. We explored museums filled with some of the greatest artworks in human history, climbed endless staircases for breathtaking views, ate the best croissants and macarons of our lives, wandered through beautiful neighborhoods, and experienced moments that honestly felt cinematic. This became one of the most unforgettable trips of my life. But we also quickly discovered something nobody really tells you about Paris. This city is beautiful, affordable, exhausting, overwhelming, magical, and unforgettable, sometimes all at the same time. Yes, our legs were completely destroyed by the end of this trip. We walked nearly 30,000 steps a day, got lost inside the Louvre, and learned very quickly that Paris is not for the weak. But every exhausting moment felt worth it. Because Paris is more than just famous landmarks. It's the atmosphere, the cafe culture, the architecture, the history, the tiny, unexpected moments that stay in your memory long after the trip ends. And in this video, I'm taking you through our complete 5-day Paris itinerary, including the places that completely lived up to the hype, hidden tips that saved us money, the best food we tried, mistakes to avoid, how much we spent, and the moments that honestly surprised us the most. And trust me, some of the best parts of this trip were the things we never planned at all. Day 1. Montmartre and Eiffel Tower. Before this trip, we prepared 2 things that ended up saving us a lot of stress. First, we downloaded Airalo so we'd have internet immediately after landing in France. Second, we bought the Paris Museum Pass in advance and reserved timed entries whenever needed. This saved us a lot of money because entrance fees in Paris add up very quickly now, especially at the Louvre. We landed at Charles de Gaulle Airport around 12:30 p.m. and immediately learned one important thing. Always say bonjour before asking anything. People instantly become friendlier. From the airport, we headed toward Montparnasse and bought the Navigo weekly pass, which ended up being one of the best deals of the trip. Individual rides in Paris can get expensive, especially airport trains, so unlimited transportation saved us a lot. After checking in, we headed straight to Montmartre and immediately suffered. The Metro exits alone felt like a stair-climbing competition. Then came the steep streets of Montmartre itself. By the time we reached Sacré-Cœur Basilica, I genuinely thought my lungs were collapsing. The funny part? We later discovered there was a funicular that could take us almost all the way up. So please, learn from our pain. Take the funicular. Montmartre itself felt cinematic. Artists painting in the square, tiny cafes, musicians playing outside restaurants. It still feels like the old artistic Paris where Picasso and Van Gogh once lived. Van Gogh moved to Paris in 1886 and was influenced by the cafes, gardens, streets, and especially the Impressionist artists he met there. Paris completely changed his style, introducing him to brighter colors and the artistic ideas that later shaped some of his most famous paintings. We visited the famous Wall of Love, though sadly, it was under construction. Then passed by La Maison Rose from Emily in Paris. Google shows they are open, but they are not, so call ahead. But finally reaching Sacré-Cœur made everything worth it. The view overlooking Paris was breathtaking. Then, next stop, is the Eiffel Tower. Nothing prepares you for seeing it sparkle in person for the first time. Every hour after sunset, the tower sparkles for 5 minutes, using 20,000 flashing bulbs, and suddenly, Paris stops feeling like a real city and starts feeling like a movie. We stood there in the rain, drinking surprisingly delicious hot chocolate from a nearby food stand, taking photos. And right there, on our very first night, Paris got us. Day 2. Notre-Dame, croissants, and Van Gogh. We booked the 9 a.m. tower tour at Notre-Dame Cathedral. And before the climb even started, we bought a copy of The Hunchback of Notre Dame near the cathedral. Then came the spiral stairs. Again. Paris really makes you earn every view. Seeing the gargoyles overlooking Paris felt surreal. At the top, you get 360 view of Paris, but the barbed wires hinder the experience. Outside Notre Dame, We spent forever trying to take photos without crowds. Afterward, we visited Sainte-Chapelle, and even with restoration work ongoing, the stained glass windows were unbelievable. The chapel contains over 1,000 biblical scenes across towering 13th century stained glass panels, and when sunlight passes through them, the entire room glows with color. Then came one of the greatest food moments of the trip. We went to La Maison d'Isabelle, winner of Best Croissant in Paris in 2018. And this was genuinely the best croissant I have ever eaten in my life. I ordered the almond croissant, expecting something like our local French bakery. No, French pastries are operating on a completely different level. The butter, texture, layers, flavor, everything tasted richer and fresher. This was the moment I realized croissants in France are an entirely different experience. We also stopped by Au Merveilleux de Fred. They are famous for their merveilleux, desserts made with layers of meringue and whipped cream covered in chocolate shavings. We tried the l'incroyable, a pastry made with speculoos cream, meringue, and white chocolate. And it is now on my top favorite desserts. What a fun discovery. Later, we visited the Panthéon, where some of France's greatest minds are buried. Voltaire, Victor Hugo, Alexandre Dumas, Marie and Pierre Curie. And honestly, this place inspired me more than almost any museum. Paris truly honors artists, scientists, philosophers, and writers in a way that feels rare today. We also visited the Free Musée Curie and saw Marie Curie's actual laboratory. Seeing the workspace of someone who changed science forever was surreal. We watched a lot of French films and Paris-based movies to immerse ourselves in the atmosphere. Seeing the cafés, streets, museums, and neighborhoods on screen made finally arriving in Paris feel unreal, like stepping into a place we had already dreamed about for years. By afternoon, we reached Musée d'Orsay, and honestly, we were too tired to fully appreciate it, which is unfortunate because this museum is incredible. The building itself used to be a railway station built for the 1900 World's Fair, and inside are masterpieces by Monet, Renoir, Degas, and Van Gogh. Even exhausted, seeing Van Gogh's paintings in person still felt amazing. Make sure to allot more time and energy for this museum. Then we rushed to Musée Rodin before closing because I desperately wanted to see the thinker. Originally, Auguste Rodin created it as part of the Gates of Hell, inspired by Dante's Inferno. The figure was first meant to represent Dante himself, sitting above the gates and reflecting on the suffering and fate of humanity. Over time, though, the thinker became much more than just a sculpture. It became a symbol of philosophy, intellectual struggle, and deep human reflection. At this point, we officially gave up on the rest of our itinerary because our legs had completely surrendered. Our list was ambitious, but Paris humbled us. If I were to do this itinerary again, I would plan the places in order of importance. Paris can be physically exhausting, and we realized you simply won't have unlimited time or energy. Focusing on the experiences that truly matter to you first makes the trip far more enjoyable. We took the bus home, showered, collapsed onto the bed, and talked about how unbelievable the day had been. A lot of people say Paris is overrated. But honestly, if you love art, history, philosophy, architecture, and literature, Paris feels magical. Day 3, the Louvre Survival Experience. We were running late, so we took an Uber to the Louvre because we had a 9 a.m. timed entry. Outside the Louvre, there was already a huge line of people waiting to enter, but we still managed to take photos that made it look uncrowded. Once inside, we explored for a little while and found a cafe near the staircase where we had breakfast. We ordered coffee, juice, a croissant, and a cheese melt. Everything tasted fresh and comforting. Then we went straight to see the Mona Lisa. The funny thing is, before it was stolen in 1911, the Mona Lisa was admired by art experts, but wasn't yet the global phenomenon it is today. The theft shocked the world, dominated newspaper headlines for years, and accidentally transformed the painting into the most famous artwork on Earth. Seeing it in person was fascinating, especially finally standing in front of something so iconic after seeing it your entire life in books, movies, and online. But honestly, what overwhelmed me even more were the gigantic paintings surrounding it throughout the Louvre. Entire walls covered in dramatic battles, mythology, coronations, revolutions, and scenes from history. Massive, glorious paintings everywhere. It didn't just feel like looking at art, it felt like stepping inside history itself. After that, we looked for the Winged Victory of Samothrace. This sculpture is one of the most famous pieces in the Louvre, and it sits dramatically at the top of a staircase. Then we went to see the Venus de Milo, one of the most famous sculptures in the world. Created over 2,000 years ago during ancient Greece, the statue is believed to be Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of love and beauty. Nobody knows exactly what her original arms looked like or what she was holding before they were lost. Seeing it in person felt surreal. The sculpture somehow looks both graceful and powerful at the same time, and the detail in the marble is incredible considering its age. After that, we searched for the Napoleon III apartments, which was not easy at all. We got lost several times inside the Louvre, even after asking for directions. It really is the largest museum in the world, and you can feel that when you're trying to find one specific room. After maybe the fourth attempt, we finally found it. And it was worth it. And wow, gold ceilings, crystal chandeliers, red velvet furniture, painted ceilings, ornate fireplaces, walls covered in gold details everywhere you look. The apartments were created for Emperor Napoleon III in the 19th century during the Second French Empire, and everything about them screams wealth, power, and excess. What fascinated me most was realizing that the Louvre was originally built as a royal palace long before it became a museum. Walking through these apartments suddenly makes you understand how French royalty and aristocracy lived. It genuinely felt like stepping into another world. Like people say, how do you go back to IKEA after seeing this? By this point, we were exhausted and hungry. Our first stop was La Durée at Carrousel du Louvre because I love macarons. Then we walked toward Arc de Triomphe du Carrousel and Jardin du Carrousel before heading to Musée de l'Orangerie for our 2:30 p.m. reservation. Musée de l'Orangerie, best known for Monet's water lilies, displayed in oval rooms that feel calm and immersive. I came to Paris for the Mona Lisa, but it was the water lilies that completely captured my heart. Standing inside those oval rooms at Musée de l'Orangerie felt almost unreal. The massive paintings surrounded every corner of the room, wrapping around you like another world. It didn't feel like looking at a painting anymore. It felt like being inside Monet's mind. The soft colors, reflections, and endless water scenes created such a peaceful atmosphere. For a moment, it felt like time slowed down. Out of all the artworks we saw in Paris, this was the one that stayed with me the most. Then we went to Hôtel de la Marine for our 3:30 p.m. tour. This was one of the most organized and relaxing tours we did in Paris. The audio guide was easy to follow. The rooms were beautifully restored, and the entire experience felt polished and informative. After that, we made a big mistake. We walked from Champs-Élysées to Arc de Triomphe. We should have taken the metro. It looked manageable on the map, but after already walking around the Louvre and several museums, that walk felt endless. We stopped by Pierre Hermé. This changed everything. Before this, my favorite macaron was the rose macaron from La Durée. But after trying Pierre Hermé's Ispahan, it became the best macaron I have ever had in my life. The combination of rose, lychee, and raspberry was so delicate and elegant. It tasted expensive in the best way. At 5 p.m., we had a reservation for Arc de Triomphe to watch the sunset. And yes, more stairs. This staircase felt even narrower than the one at Notre-Dame Towers, and by this point, stairs had become the villain of our Paris trip. But once we reached the top, the view was worth it. From there, you can see the grand avenues, including Champs-Élysées, with the Eiffel Tower in the distance. Day 4. Seine cruise, Le Marais, and Parisian hot chocolate. We started the morning at Le Pasteur with coffee and croissants. By this point in the trip, I had started to believe that almost every Parisian café somehow serves excellent breakfast. We head to Trocadero and Pont de Bir Hakeim for daytime Eiffel Tower views. Seeing the Eiffel Tower during the day feels completely different from seeing it sparkle at night. Then we went on a Seine river cruise with Vedettes de Paris. By the way, it's free on your birthday. See the famous landmarks in Paris: the Eiffel Tower, Notre-Dame Cathedral, with a tour guide giving you information. Sipping champagne while cruising through Paris felt like one of those moments you remember years later. Afterward, we explored Le Marais, one of the most charming neighborhoods in Paris, filled with boutiques, bookstores, cafés, and old historic streets. We ate at the famous Las du Falafel. There was a line and a long wait, but their system was efficient. We ordered, and the food came quickly. The service was efficient, and the food tasted fresh. But honestly, we've had better Middle Eastern food before. Then we visited Place des Vosges, one of the oldest planned squares in Paris. It felt elegant and peaceful, with red brick buildings, and a beautiful park in the middle with fountains. After that, we went to Carrette to try the famous Parisian hot chocolate. We ordered a fruit crepe, which was good, and then the hot chocolate arrived. They pour it carefully into your cup and leave you with a generous pot of thick, rich chocolate. The first sip was incredible, deep, creamy, and luxurious. Overall, I think the hot chocolate experience was worth it. After that, we took the bus back to our Airbnb. Even though the bus took longer because of rush hour, it was still more convenient than dealing with metro stairs and transfers. Despite the sore legs, endless stairs, crowded tourist spots, and physical exhaustion, we still didn't want the trip to end. Day 5, French treats, and one last look at the city. For our last morning, we originally planned to jog to Pont Alexandre III, Jardin des Champs-Élysées, Tuileries Garden, Jardin du Luxembourg, Fontaine Médicis, and Cimetière du Montparnasse, where Jean-Paul Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir are buried. But after 4 packed days in Paris, we were too exhausted. So instead, we packed and bought some French goods to bring home, including Bonne Maman Madeleines, Côte d'Or chocolates, croissants, Starbucks mugs, Pierre Hermé macarons, and the cutest La Durée keychains. And one of the most surprising parts of this trip? Without the shopping, our entire 5-day Paris itinerary, including flights from North America, accommodations, transportation, museums, food, and activities, cost us around only €1,000, which honestly changed the way we think about Paris. Because before this trip, we always imagined Paris as an expensive destination. With careful planning, public transpo, museum pass, and balancing affordable food with a few special experiences, Paris ended up being far more affordable than we expected. Paris completely lived up to the dream. Not because everything was perfect, but because the city made us feel something unique every single day. From watching the Eiffel Tower sparkle for the first time, to standing in front of paintings and sculptures I had only seen in books, to the best pastries we have ever had. Paris constantly felt like stepping into art, history, and cinema all at once. And maybe that's what makes this city so special. You don't just visit Paris, you experience it. And long after the trip ends, small moments from the city keep replaying in your mind. Thanks for watching Can Travel, exploring the world one step at a time. If you like this video, hit like, share, and subscribe.